I do. Dr. Alba, A-L-B-E-R-T, A-L-B-A. Thank you. So I was your #1 cheerleader when you guys were all running. Never in my wildest dreams did I think we were going to be hit with Mr. Brunetto being taken off the planning board and replaced with Mr. DeSimone. Never in my wildest dreams did I feel that you were going to instill in all of us an anxiety, a level of anxiety which would not bring us together. None of us would have voted for you. You all knew about the library situation and what happened with the friction. You all knew about the last town council and the friction. This is far greater, I would say, than any of those others. I hope and pray that you bring peace in our town. I hope and pray that not one more person is removed from our planning board. And I would like to have that commitment brought out now rather than later. Because you can say anything you want, and then when Mr. Brady's term expires or anyone else's term, any of the other planning board members expire, you can say we had a difference of opinion. But when I saw those planning board meetings, I heard Mr. DeSimone was the only one saying he was the only one not in compliance, not in agreement with the other planning board members who have dedicated their lives for the benefit of this town. I have a colleague. He has a 12-year-old daughter. He's going to be retiring next year. He goes, Dr. Alba, I'm going to be leaving Narragansett as soon as I retire. Look at this. Come down and look at this huge house which was built. It's a rental property. Huge rental property was built next to my property. This was our family building. We're going to go to New Hampshire. So we can't deal with the politics anymore. How is this ever allowed? And on that note, going forward, each of you have to hold the zoning board accountable. Before any building gets picked up or built, you should have a moratorium on these houses that can be raised and then grow to monstrosities. There's got to be, we have bulk zoning for a reason, but we've had zoning before, but it's not enforced. How do these other monstrosities get built? You have to hold the zoning board accountable. And if they so much as bring forth an idea of building one of these monstrosities, next to the 2- and 3-bedroom properties, they should be taken off immediately for incompetence, failing in their fiduciary responsibilities. As was mentioned by the CRMC, this here affects a lot of issues, from sewage backup to finding affordability. Because this person now, who had this beautiful house, his property went down considerably as a result of this rental property, this monstrosity of a rental property. Then I had another hardworking family man, because I have two of my kids. Two of my kids, they want to come back and live in Narragansett. They're both married, they're both successful, but they're not going to be able to afford to if these developers come in with cash offers to raise these properties and make them investment properties. They're not going to be able to afford it. Not only that, we're going to lose. We can lose. Where you have 1- or 2-bedroom properties, or 2- or 3-bedroom properties, they could be wiped out. We have to preserve every single neighborhood where we have these 2- and 3-bedroom properties and keep that zoning in place for the integrity, for future families to come into Narragansett. This is so important, because he says, if these developers come in, how can we compete? These people are going to be turning these here properties into rentals. So if you're a single family, husband, wife working, even if you can afford, they're making $200,000 a year, they can afford a modest-sized property in Narragansett, they're not going to be able to buy it when they're competing against these developers from Connecticut and elsewhere. And Mr. Dowdy, I take umbrage with everything you said, and this is a fact. When my cousin, David Gravino, was building Iggy's Doughboys, you spoke out, and you spoke out nonstop. Nonstop, Mr. Durkin was paying you handsomely to hold him to the dot his I's and cross his T's.
Please direct your attention up here.
This is the point.
Thank you.
He wanted to make sure that he made life as difficult as possible for my cousin, because I was there, my father was there. Why Mr. Durkin had this angst against my cousin, I have no idea. He was previously renting to him. He gave him good rent. And because my cousin wanted to go on his own, so someone said, well, why don't you let this know ahead of time? I said, well, I hope Mr. Durkin would have an epiphany, a change of heart. It's very frustrating when this gentleman also represented the Johnson Pond case. Ask the people in Johnson Pond if he was really concerned about their town. Ask the people in Coventry. He was up there, filibustering over there, but he lost that case outright. So if he's so concerned about the environment, then why did he even take on Mr. Susia as a client? Why did he even take on Mr. Durkin to make life miserable for my cousin, where David had to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars to fight, and my cousin had to call me and my dad in to testify, saying, this is incredible, how can you do this? So think about that when you listen to his testimony, when he wants to come up here and talk about the benefits, how he cares about his beloved Narragansett, how he cares about businesses in Narragansett. So I want to thank you all for taking this back, but we have to work collectively with our planning board, and I would like you all to go on record that you're not going to remove any planning board members. We need to have this on record, because talk could be cheap sometimes. Okay? I was never informed ahead of time before I voted for you that this would be coming down the road. 14 ordinances where Mr. Brady could not even, I saw the meetings. I saw Mr. DeSimone, the person you appointed. He's a builder, for peace sakes. And because he's a builder, of course he's going to approve all the change ordinances. But it's not for the benefit of our town. It's not the benefit for your kids when you have kids. It's not for the benefit of our schools, because the more and more monstrosities we have that are rentals, we're going to have fewer and fewer students. And there will be a time where we might not be able to afford to have our schools open. As Mrs. Catherine Celeberto brought out before, excuse me, when we have to transfer students over here, we actually lose money. We don't have a bottomless pit for our school system. I care about our schools. I don't want Narragansett to have to merge. But the writing is on the wall. The writing is on the wall that if we do not put a halt to these monstrosities for people not complying with bulk zoning, if we do not hold the zoning board to the table, so they're not going to be morphed, these 2- and 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom houses, into 10, 15 bedrooms, then that'll be a sad state of affairs. And Donna, you have a background in education. You have a love for education. And I would also add this. To believe that these investors are going to build and they're going to make them affordable, all you got to do is look at Proxianti and Palino on properties they bought in Ocean Road. All you got to do is look at Galilee and how they treated us in Galilee. They don't even have a special use permit in Galilee. They're breaking the law. They're breaking our zoning. We should be going after them. We have every right, and we do have home rule. So I also take umbrage where this gentleman says we don't have home rule. Look it up, sir. Home rule states that if a city or town's ordinances are for the best interest of the city or town, then you have a right to go against the state. And we can go to court. When I had a fight against signage along Ocean Road, I went 3 times to testify against our former town solicitor. Did I like to do that? No. But believe me, if we fight for what's right, you're going to have all these people show up at the Capitol. And we'll tell whoever's in charge of the General Assembly, get off of our back. And you'll see how fast he'll get off of our back, because he'll be the embarrassment. We're not going to back down. Thank you.
Thank you.